The secret about communication is truly learn to care about the person you're communicating with, because then
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you say the right things. It doesn't matter if you even know what to say at all. It doesn't matter if you mess up, or even as a speaker, it doesn't matter if you fumble or if you say too many ums. If the audience, if the person you're talking to senses that you truly care about them, it just brings in a different atmosphere during the conversation. So that to me is I do, and it is hard. I don't always like all of my students. And so sometimes I have to put in extra work to care about them. Even if I don't necessarily wouldn't be friends with them, is how can I care about this individual? And that to me is a lifelong thing. I think we all have to work on that our whole lives to figure out how to care about other people more than just caring about ourselves. But that to me, I think is an important philosophy for communication.
I just
Morning, I like woke
love
up
that.
thinking about like how has calm changed my life? And it's funny because I kind of came to the I came to the conclusion that calm studies is it's from what I've learned is literally in everything I do every single day. And that's
Wow.
because it has helped me with my verbal communication. I have a lot of interviews. I have, talking to customers, talking to this. It's constant verbal communication. It's written communication. It's doing press releases. It's doing emails. It's doing just effectively speaking and effectively writing. It's my for debate. It's about being able to come to an argument. If you're, having like a discussion or an argument, but you have to have your facts. Come prepared. Don't just use your emotion and jump to something. Have your facts. It's all about rhetoric, the words you use and how you say them and what they mean. And it's really in quite literally, and that's why I said it's in everything I do every single day.
Of the compound interest of service. It's the more we start to serve others in our lives, the greater and richer our lives become down the road. And it's like that whole idea, if you save $100 and every week or whatever, they become a millionaire when you want to retire. I just think if people started to serve others and looked out for each other, then we become this kind of way of serving each other, and we wouldn't have to stress out as much about the external things that come flying at us because others are trying to help us.
Brian, I'm getting emotional listening to you talk about this because I'd like to think that every moment of my teaching career has been dedicated to helping students become what you just said. And to watch you do it in your life and articulate it so beautifully like you just did, that's just incredible.
I don't know where I learned it. I just remember thinking about this while I was in school. But I don't speak to people. I don't prepare for people when I'm giving keynotes or professional development that want to be there. I think about the person who does not. Because if I can get the person that's on the fringes, I already know I got everybody else. So like I know kids don't want to listen to the little short bald guy with the glasses come in with the suit on. Like I know that. So it's like, how can I cut through that as fast as I can? And I always start my keynotes, especially with children, with spoken word. Powerful words spoken by a powerful individual for passing out residuals, but I do take donations. I'm motivated to motivate the youth of our nation and to make people feel good. And I say, how are you all doing today? But like, I literally don't say anything before that. It's just my big voice, like right away.
Do you think that social media is important in networking in this day and age?
I think social media is definitely important. However, my take on it is with how comfortable we have gotten with social media, it's almost the easy button. That there's also something to be said about forcing yourself out of your comfort zone too, and actually attending those events. And it's scary to go up to people, but starting small with young professionals networks that can
the
really
quality
help.
of the education you got at UW Oshkosh, was this in your judgment, and especially when you look back on it now, a high quality place?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a great experience at UW Oshkosh. We've been talking about filmmaking, and I said I was a radio TV film major, but that program was wonderful. The fact that I didn't pursue it immediately was not an indictment of the program. Doug Heil, who ran the program at the time, the film side of it, Doc Snyder was still Bob Snyder, Doc Snyder was still, the chair of the department. I mean, they put together a great program. It was a great hands-on program. They were just very nurturing and encouraging. And I had a wonderful experience, but also had all kinds of opportunity to take classes that I might not have otherwise, like your
I
classes.
think that, first of all, the UWO COMM program has very high standards. And I knew that when I was in it, but in my years since graduating, and the more I interact with people outside of, obviously UWO, I really realize how much the program, and I'm not just saying this, like I really truly mean it, how much the program set us up for success.
Service toward others. Did your military service give you that ethic? Was it your mom growing up? Like, how did you develop that ethic?
So growing up, not many people know this, but I talk about it a lot, especially in therapy sessions. I grew up in a very, very rough home.
Yeah.
My father was in and out of jail. We were broke. And so after living in a situation that I was forced in, and my mom did everything she could. She's an amazing lady, nothing against her whatsoever. But when you have nothing and you grow up with nothing, and you learn to like remember that for the rest of your life, no matter how successful you are, no matter what you do in life, when you come from nothing, it sticks with you. And you see these people that have less than or more than you, and you're just
I like to think of the story as showing audiences in the Western world a part of history that they probably don't know about through a character who, I wouldn't call him a very sort of aware person beyond his own small town world, right? And to be so bombarded by suffering of a world event that he had no knowledge of, we wanted to tell the story basically that suffering, no matter when or where it occurs, affects us all. And I have to point out the sign on the wall behind you. An injury to one is an injury to all. I mean, that's the theme of our film.
Yes. What got you interested, maybe not just in Cannibal Holocaust, but in this genre? I know you're a big watcher of the horror film genre. What got you interested in this genre of film?
Well, I've always loved horror, and I think there's a variety of reasons for that, some of it gets down to the fact that I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies as a kid. Some of it is the creativity of the genre and the potential of it, because it just offers so many avenues for creativity and expression. And I think as I've gotten older, there's scholarship around a horror cinema that suggests Bruce Cowan wrote a famous piece called The Mummy's Pool. And in this essay, he argues that horror films
about where the universities of Wisconsin system is headed.
I am optimistic because of the people that I interact with.
Yeah.
Right. I am optimistic. I mean, that's one of the things that I've always said about this place, right? Like, even when you say, like, you know, I'm getting our students to tap into their inner idealist and like go work in nonprofits. Well, only because you were like, okay, y'all need to acknowledge the problems that are happening in the world right now. Right. And so I think we have the privilege of working with really awesome people here in this department. And we have the privilege of working with students who want the world to be better and who are pretty frustrated with what they're inheriting and sometimes want to, you know, like we all do, want to escape it, right? Want to be like, I'm just going to check out into social media right now. And I think one of our jobs is to say, no, this physical reality exists.
There are people
These
out
are the
there who
people
are
we live
thinking,
with.
you know,
We
maybe I
gotta
want to
figure
go
out how
back to school and like take online classes. I know there's a lot of people out there working full time that maybe want to take classes. They're not sure if they can do it. What would you tell them about the COMM Studies program?
Yes, if there was one word I would use, I would probably say transformative. Like, you know, if you, so many other degrees, like you're going to learn something, you're going to be a professional in that field. But with communication studies, there's so many assignments where you have to reflect on yourself and past experiences that you've gone through. And you just kind of have to like realize certain things about yourself, and you learn so much about yourself through all
What
of
do
these
you mean by amplifying impact through compelling stories?
So I love storytelling, and I love storytelling in an empowering way. I try not to do any storytelling in a sad ASPCA puppy dog way. I never want a story that I write or tell to be like, oh, look at this poor woman. She has no money. She has no education, sad and sadder. And instead of showing, here's the way that we can uplift this woman to show no matter the circumstances that you have and the opportunities that may have passed you, there are new things and ways that we could help in the community. So amplifying the impact of the Women's Fund in that way to
In all the
put
careers
everything
you
more in an
have had,
empowering.
what has been the role of this thing called communication?
It's everything. It's paramount. It's the foundation of every single job. I was just thinking, I didn't know where the question was going, and I was just thinking about how we have a friend who has cancer, and I did a benefit for him, and I raised $50,000. Even in that, I had to have, you know, I went out to bars and restaurants and solicited donations. And again, you have to have strong communication skills, both written and verbal, right? So I sent him initially an email and told our story. And I said, I'm going to come in on Friday and talk to you about this. So it's both. You have to have written and you have to have, and organizational, you know, and verbal communication. So every job I've had,
you know what's so great? You were a very hardworking student, and you're from Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is like this working class, hardworking town. I mean, did the work ethic that you got growing up in Kenosha and then the work ethic at UW Oshkosh, has that really helped you in your career?
100%. Yeah, I think that's a great question and an observation too, because I think genuinely coming from the Midwest, we have a different vibe and a different work ethic, and just we're very hardworking, and we want to, you know, kind of prove ourselves. And like I genuinely notice people out in LA that are from the Midwest. I'm like, you're from the Midwest, aren't you? They're like, yeah, I'm from Minnesota, I'm from Wisconsin. Like, you can tell every time, because nobody's pretentious. They're really just hardworking people. And I think that has made a difference for me, of just being from humble backgrounds and then coming into that.
The Game Show America story now is how much money you guys have raised for charity. Can you just give us a ballpark figure? How much money have you raised for charities over the last 29 years?
Over the last 29 years, and we actually didn't start doing fundraising, you know, like a lot of it, until 2010. So we had been in business from 96 to 2010. From 2010 till current, we've raised over $100 million for organizations.
Wow.
And it's just because they're like, hey, you've got this thing. And so we tell them a story about how it's helped other people raise money for their cause. And it just keeps working. I I got to pinch myself every time, like, oh my gosh. Like when you headline at Petco Park and you're raising money for the Padres Foundation, they raised $2 million in one night. We help be responsible for that. That's a pretty good feeling.